How to be a good patient and receive visitors. Well, hey, folks, I appreciate you joining us today on the Transplant Helper podcast / YouTube video series. My name is Jim Merle, and today we're going to be discussing how to be a good patient and receive visitors. Now, we've already had a program concerning how to be a good visitor, but today, how to be a good patient and receive those visitors. And I think if you'll go back and watch this program, the other program, you'll understand this one a little bit better. But when you're laying in a hospital bed, you're going to long for, you're going to look for, you're going to beg sometimes for visitors to come by. And if you're like I was, you're not only going to see your friends, your family members and such, but the doctors, the nurses, the staff, or even the cleaning crew who come by ultimately become visitors to you. So the way that you receive them is going to have a big impact on how many of those people come by and how well they want to treat you while they are there. Because believe it or not, you can be a bad patient. You can be a bad recipient of those visitors. And so these 5 practical tips I'm going to give you today hopefully will make you a better patient when it comes to receiving visitors. So let's jump right in. Number 1, don't be too kind. Don't be too kind. Now, the reason I say that is sometimes when it comes to receiving visitors, we're so desperate and we want a visitor so badly that we're afraid to tell people when it's simply a bad time. Now, you know as well as I do, if you're a transplant patient or someone who's awaiting a transplant, you have many a days which are just bad days where you just don't feel well. You don't feel like talking to anyone. You don't feel like anyone looking at you for that matter. Don't be afraid to tell your friends and family members it's just a bad time. You know, maybe they're willing to call ahead or text ahead or however they communicate and say, hey, I was thinking about stopping by to visit you at this time or on this day. Just be honest and say, look, no, that's not a good time. I don't need you coming by then. Or if you don't mind, maybe they knock at the door and they say, can I come in? Go ahead and let them come in, but then just tell them it's not a good time. You know, maybe you're going for a procedure, just got back from a procedure. Maybe you just had a bad night or a bad day and you need your rest. Let them know it is a bad time. I've laid in the hospital for days and weeks on end and received visitor after visitor after visitor and didn't want to offend anyone. And so because of that, I would never tell people when it was a bad time. And I found out later when I finally decided, you know what? I need a day or two off. I need an hour or two off. I got to where I'd kind of post on Facebook or Twitter and I'd say, look, I don't want any visitors today. I'll let you know when I feel better. That helps me more than anything. So don't be too kind. Number 2, don't be too considerate. And what I mean by that is once someone gets inside the room and they're visiting with you and they're conversating and you're carrying on that conversation, there may be a point in that visit, especially if they stayed too long. And again, I'll put a link in the show notes to the previous program about being a good visitor. But if they stayed too long, don't be so considerate that you're afraid to ask them to leave. Again, you don't want to be offensive with this, but sometimes you just have to tell people, look, I'm tired. I need my rest. I need you to go. Or maybe if you're like I was, sometimes those people come in, the staff members come in, they want to take the blood or they want to take you down for that test, and they look over and see the visitor and they say, oh, I don't want to bother you right now. You got a visitor. No. Take me for the procedure. Go ahead and get the test over with. Take my blood. I'll ask the visitor to leave. It's okay. And if those people are loving and considerate, and if you can help them to understand time that it's not always going to be an ideal time to have a visitor or to have a visitor for so long, that'll help a lot. So don't be too kind, but then don't be too considerate. Number 3, don't be too open. Now, in the preceding program about being a good visitor, we said don't be too nosy. On this side, if you're the patient, don't be too open. You do not have to tell everyone who walks in the room the entire story of your healthcare situation. You don't have to tell them every procedure, every needle, every word the doctor said, everything that's gone on. Some of that's private for one thing, but for another, you just don't have to burden yourself with that. If they want an update about your health, maybe you've already told a family member. Maybe there's someone closest to you that you've already told. Just say, hey, look, I'm tired. I don't want to tell that, or that's private. Just don't be afraid to kind of cut them off or say, why don't you ask so-and-so? I've already told them what's going on. I've already updated them. Just ask them. Don't be too open. I know you care. I know you're trying to be kind and considerate in that case, but don't be too open. Everybody doesn't have to know all your business. Next, don't be too proud. Again, in the preceding program, we said that they need not be too lazy. Don't be too proud to ask for assistance. If someone's in your room, especially a visitor stop by for a few minutes, and you need something, you need that blanket, you need some food, you need something to drink, you need some assistance from them to go to the bathroom or whatever it is, don't be too proud to ask for that. They may not know what to do. They may not know how to help. Don't be too proud to ask. Again, I've been in situations where I've laid in the hospital bed for hours and hours on end and thought, boy, I'm about to starve to death, or I'd like to have that glass of water, or I wish I had a blanket, and I wouldn't ask that person. They'd be sitting there asking, how can I help? Oh, I'm fine. I don't need anything. I'm good. Are you sure? I'm fine. Don't be too proud. Now, here's the next one here. Don't be too snappy. Now, this one may be difficult to do, because if you're in the hospital, you don't want to be there. You're probably being treated and mistreated and undone and redone, poked and prodded. But try your best to know these people made an effort to come by and see you. They probably care. They probably love you a lot. Try not to be too snappy. You're going to be tired. You're going to be in pain many times. Try not to be too snappy. Just take a deep breath, before you speak. Take a deep breath before you act. And that's especially difficult. If you're a transplant patient, especially post-transplant, you're most likely going to be on a lot of steroids and things, other drugs that alter your mood. That's going to be hard to do, but try not to be too snappy. So these have been very, very quick and practical tips I know that can help you, but let me review them right quick. Don't be too kind. Just let people know whether it's a good or bad time to visit. Don't be too considerate. That is, ask people to leave if it's a bad time or if they've been there too long. Don't be too open. Not everyone needs to know your business. Don't be too proud. If you need something, ask, and don't be too snappy. Try to control your attitude and your emotions while they're there, and I'll assure you that will improve the visits that you receive, and you'll be a better patient for this. Now, you can apply all of these things also to the staff that comes in, but especially to your visitors. I hope that these things have been very practical and helped you in some way. If they have, why not like, subscribe, and share these things as far as you can on social media or with your friends. Just let them know that these videos are out there, and hopefully you're going to improve and you're going to make your strides toward getting better and recovering from whatever your situation is. Thank you very much for joining us, and stay stronger, my friends.